Making exclusions of automatic placements on the display network may seem like a straightforward task, but in truth, it involves a lot of strategy and PPC finesse. That's why today we're going to go behind the scenes of Hannafin marketing, where our pay-per-click expert Jessica Niver is explaining to our newest recruits the how, why, and when of display network exclusions. Let's listen in.
So say I was doing a review and I wanted to find sites that hadn't, been productive for us over the last 3 months. So I can sort by cost, just because those with highest cost are basically having the highest impact on my bottom line. So I'm sorting by cost and looking at all of them, because even these which have converted a lot, if the cost per lead goal is $10, then this one's doing really well. But if it's $10, then this one's doing really poorly, but it still has a decent number of conversions. So I have options. Either I can say, like for reference.com here, like, no, this was much, much too expensive. It's not worth it for $5. I'm just not going to show on reference.com for that ad group anymore. Not for that campaign, because if I click on this, like I said, and exclude it at the campaign, there could be other instances of reference.com down here listed for another ad group that did work. So anyway, so you can see like eHow here. It works fairly well for us. But I don't know if it's working well for all of the ad groups within self-publisher. It maybe isn't, so I might need to, just be conscious of that when I'm looking through things with higher costs. I'm trying to find an instance of self-publisher where it would be spending, but it may be. Yeah, like see here, it's got a decent number of leads, self-publishing content network, but then like down here, it's excluded because at the ad group level. And you can tell it's only excluded at the ad group level because that other instance doesn't say excluded. If it was excluded at the campaign level, then all the eHows for that campaign would say excluded. But if you do get a situation like this, like eHow.com, where say our cost per lead goal is substantially lower than this, and I don't want to get rid of it completely because it's still giving me useful traffic, but it's not doing as well as I would like it to, you can see the list of actual URLs on which you've appeared for any of these, for all of them, or for just the one. I would recommend you look at it for just the one, because excluding placements at the URL level instead of the domain level is useful for a productive domain, but otherwise it's an even bigger list. I mean, there were 23,000 domain listings when you segment it out by ad group and campaign for the last 2 months. Can you imagine like how many URLs within those domains you appeared on? So it gets out of hand, and there's really like no point to excluding at the URL level unless you have a particular URL that performs extremely poorly, and that like eliminating will assist in you being still able to appear on that site without getting you poor traffic. I mean, there are other ways to do that. Like if I look at here, these are all the URLs on which I appeared for self-publishing within eHow. So you can either say like, okay, this is only 840. Did it do me that much damage? Nah, not really. Like collectively, did these do me that much damage? Individually, no, but collectively they did. So I either need to make a choice, like go in a longer date range, like change my date range and see if I can find exactly which pages we've been productive on. And if we've been productive on a couple of pages multiple times, just try to exclude all of the other URLs. Like if this had like 10 conversions and this had 5, and then I had a million one-off things that had cost $4 and had 0 conversions, then maybe I might try to make this a little bit more restricted and just exclude all of the things that we've been appearing on thus far except for those. It doesn't mean we're not still going to be eligible to show on other random URLs within eHow. It's not like a managed placement where I'm saying I only want to appear on this URL. It's just saying, yeah, whatever, I don't really care about all of these other ones. Don't show me on them again. But for the most part, you can see that there are multiple impressions, but they're mostly like one-off impressions. There's not a ton of traffic. We don't appear on this page all the time. We just sometimes do. So when you do this breakdown like this, you can look into it that way, or you can also look, other thing I do is that I sometimes look at the URLs and try to figure out if there's a theme to the types of sites, to URLs that I'm appearing on that aren't converting well. Like, maybe if the page is about comic books, I always convert, but if the page is about poetry, I never do. And you can look in the URL for some of these sites like eHow for the content of the page, and then you can add negative keywords around that content to start excluding all these types of sites without excluding at the individual URL level. So that's probably a better thing to do if you are on a site where you can identify, a pattern like that. And to do that, I would just download this to an Excel spreadsheet and then try to find instances of certain words if I were going to do it for this campaign. So it's a little bit fussy, but if you really want to get a campaign's cost per lead down on a site and the site otherwise works really well for you, it's kind of worth going through the fuss because you don't want to lose all those leads. You just want to reduce the cost of the leads. So, like I said, I wouldn't do this in a campaign or an ad group that wasn't important to me on a site. So if eHow only had 2 leads and it was $50 a lead over the last 2 months, I wouldn't do this. But if it had 50 and it was, 25 and I needed it to be 9, then I would do this. Just make sure you use a long enough date range. Make sure you do it at the right level. It really just depends on what your account's goals are, right? I mean, if your cost per conversion is $6, then you're going to be excluding different things than if your cost per conversion is $40. So you just have to get the information from the account manager or from yourself regarding what they're going for, and if they just need to really meet a cost per lead goal and they're willing to lose conversions, then you can exclude things a little bit more aggressively. And if they can't lose any, then you have to be more conservative about how you exclude things. It's just kind of a matter of practice.
And that's all we have time for today. For more secrets of the Display Network, please stay tuned for future videos from PPC Hero and check out our articles on the Display Network at ppchero.com. This has been brought to you by Hannapin Marketing and PPC Hero. For more information, please visit our industry-leading blogs, ppchero.com and seoboy.com, and follow us on Twitter at @PPCHero.